Hey everyone, if you have built custom GPTs and now you want to embed them in your automations, this video is going to walk you through. As we know, custom GPTs are amazing at creating really specific AI team members for your business, your use cases. There's a couple of ways that you can get these into your workflows. So one of those is to use the actions in the back end through ChatGPT, but the way I'm going to show you today is how you essentially rebuild them in something like n8n. And I really like this approach because it means that I can have a workflow with multiple steps and then it hits that custom GPT and then, writes it the way that I need it to or whatever it is that it's doing, and then, continues on that workflow path. So I'm going to show you what that looks like with my n8n content repurposing system. So let's jump in. So I'm just going to run you through this workflow quickly. So this is how I am able to get my podcast out weekly without falling off the bandwagon. I'm posting weekly consistently, and this is how I'm doing it with automation. So basically what is happening here is the automation trigger is looking for a new file, which is the transcript of my podcast. Then it filters through and it knows that this is a podcast. So then it's like, okay, if this is true, yes, this is a podcast, then these are the things that I have to do. So up here, these are all Claude Anthropic nodes, but you can use OpenAI. And this is my show notes made, my carousel made. This gets posted out to threads and then email marketing. So it automatically creates aligned show notes so that they're in the same format every week. It pulls out some key points to make some carousels promoting that episode. It also posts out to threads. And then with my email marketing here, it's an email drafted that gets sent to my list to let them know that there is a new episode out and what it's about. So if we jump down here to the email marketing one, and so as I said, you can do this in whatever large language model that you like. You would just come over here and go OpenAI for OpenAI. I don't know if you like Gemini, and then so you just pick your node here, right? So this is Anthropic for me. Then what we want to do is set this up so that it is essentially like a custom GPT. So if I was working with this in ChatGPT, this would be my system prompt. And then this would be me opening up being like, hey, can we create an email marketing promoting this podcast episode? Here's the transcript. So this is what it's doing here. So this prompt here is a user prompt. So that's me typing in, being like, hey, take this transcript, create an email to promote the episode. Let me just run this. I don't think so because I haven't recorded a podcast. Then down here, so the role here is assistant. So in OpenAI, you get options for user or it says system prompt. And this is like assistant or system is where we're really defining what it is that we want this node to do. Essentially the same way that we create custom GPTs with that big system prompt. And so if we just open this up, you can see that this is really comprehensive. So I have given it a really clear role that it's the email copywriter for my podcast. And it's got this job to create emails that tease the insights and drive people to listen to the full episode. And here, don't give away the answers, create curiosity gaps, because I want people to read this and be like, oh, I'm going to go and listen to that. And then, so I've broken it down here. And this is exactly how you set up a custom GPT, right? So I've got here the actual language that I use, never use these things. And then what I'm finding with my prompts is if you give it really clear examples of what is bad and what is good, then it has enough context to be like, okay, so this is good, I do that. And it keeps it from going to the bad, because we've given it really clear, guardrails. And this also means that you don't need to upload all of those knowledge-based documents like in a custom GPT. If you just have some really solid examples in this system prompt, that's more than enough. I've also got here like the word limit that I want. So if you're using this for like Instagram captions and you have the specific way that you write, you would pop that all in here. And then it goes into how I want this broken down with a clear example. And I've got things here too, like no bullet points in the final output, write as natural paragraph. So you go really quite in depth into here. And then I've even got here like the links that it needs to provide for Spotify and Apple, what the PS should be like, and then options based on what was the focus of that automation of that episode. So if it's AI and automations, then I drive them to my Dream Team workshop or a consult, things like that. So that it's really like going, okay, what was this about? Okay, here's where I'm going to drive the listener to Brooke's offers. And then some more voice guidelines, things like that. And that is essentially how you recreate your custom GPT in n8n. You can also add in the tools, like you could add the vector store, which is essentially like, so this simple vector store, and it would retrieve documents, and that could be your knowledge base. However, I find that if you just do a really good system prompt, then that is more than enough for it to be on brand. And the way that you do that is you go into ChatGPT or Claude, whatever your preferred model is, and literally ask it to reverse engineer it with you. So be like, hey, you could say a custom GPT for my podcast email marketing. We need to create a really comprehensive system prompt that is aligned with my brand voice. Can you ask me any questions you need until you're 95% sure that you can do this job well and create a solid system prompt? And then it'll go through and ask you a whole bunch of questions. You can voice note that in. That's probably the way that I would do it. And then you'll grab that system prompt and pop it in here. And then it just spits out to the email dashboard. And let me show you what must one look. So in my Notion dashboard here, this is where this last podcast email was sent. So I just did a really short episode the other day talking about presenting in Sabrina Romanov's Women in AI community. And so you can see here that it has pulled out some key points here in this week's episode of Not Another AI Girl. It's put those links in that I need it to. And then here, because I'm talking about how I created my own AI and education consultancy and how you can do it too, it has made this PS, which is relevant to the episode and also my offers. All right, if this video helped you actually see how custom GPTs fit into real automations in your workflow, do me a favor, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next build. I drop weekly AI for founders tutorials just like this. No tech bro nonsense, just practical workflows that you can steal and use. And if you want to go deeper and build your own dream team for your business or join my membership, the links are below. I'll see you next time.